Yo, what is up, everybody? And today we are back on the channel with the same old Madden 26 connected franchise league with our Titans. As today we are entering week 6, looking to end off a 3-game away streak against the Las Vegas Raiders. And so far, this away game streak has been looking very good for us, very promising. I mean, so far we've won both of the away games. We beat the Texans 49 to 31. Then last week beat the Cardinals 30 to 28. That was one of the closer games, which still kind of surprised the guy quit. I mean, he definitely could have won that game, but you can't control everything. But for our Raiders, this Raiders user is actually looking to get his first win as a user on the season. Now, I know that sounds a little confusing, especially since the Raiders already have 2 wins. But basically, this Raiders guy, his 2 wins have come off of fair sim slash force wins. As the last 3 weeks for him, the first week or 3 weeks ago, the Raiders guy lost on a sim game. Third, or no, 3 weeks ago, the Raiders guy beat the Commanders 28 to 7 on a sim game. Then 2 weeks ago, Raiders guy lost 13 to 27 against the Chicago Bears on a fair sim loss. And then last week, which keep out for the name of this team because it helps us out a lot. The Raiders actually beat the Colts 21 to 19 on a force win, which, like I said, that's going to help us out in the division, as I believe that is. Sorry about this stuff. I believe that is Daniel Carlson to kick it off away to us. And you know what? Tired of all these kicks going out of the back of the end zone. It seems like I'm not getting any returns. I mean, we had the kickoff return with Kimere DK last week, but then after that, that guy was like, you know what? I'm not kicking it out in the front anymore. I'm not risking anything. I'm making a petition. Every kick is not going. All right, that's a little insane. That is kind of low. No, psych, not insane. Every kick is not allowed to go out of the back of the end zone. Every kick must stay out of the end zone, or else you're just gonna lose the game immediately. Wait, that one's kind of insane, but I think I like that rule. But the drive started out so good. I mean, if this was any of the last 3 games for us, or 4 games actually, we probably would have punted the ball already or thrown an interception. I don't think we've had a first drive where we've got more than a first down since the Broncos, actually. It's kind of insane if you really think about it here, as we are already in field goal range 3 minutes into this game. Tony Pollard in motion here. Cam Ward looking to pass now, has some time getting out of the pocket, going deep for Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard makes the catch, but he is tackled at the 5 yard line by our Darius Washington as first and goal here. Play clock winding down. Cam Ward looking to pass it again. Has a man wide open, and Calvin Ridley is able to get the Titans on the board for the first touchdown of the game. And that was a little scary because that was kind of behind. And Calvin Ridley is known to have some drop passes for the Titans. I mean, not as of recent, but it's definitely been in the history so far as he's kind of on a resurgence. I mean, last week was not as good of a game for him as it was 2 weeks ago, as Cody Barton tries to lurk Geno Smith but cannot make it there in time, as Brock Bowers gets the Raiders to about midfield as Ashton Genty fumbles the ball here. But I don't think that was a fumble, and weird enough, I did not show it, but the Raiders guy actually challenged this play, and for some reason, Madden actually let him challenge it. But I mean, it did not matter at all, as Geno Smith throws that way too high there for his tight end Michael Mayer. But like I was saying, as third and 10 here, Geno Smith getting it underneath to Ashton Genty as Ashton Genty breaks a first down and breaks a first. Whoa, what am I saying? Breaks a tackle, gets the first down. Now I am getting a little bit off topic, but Shoot, I got so off topic, I forgot what I was talking about. So I think we're just gonna continue with the game here. Maybe it'll come back to me here as second and 10. Geno Smith looking to pass the ball as there is pressure on him, and he just did not have any time. As it looks like one of the Raiders' offensive linemen. Oh, I know what I was talking about. The Raiders guy actually tried to challenge that play, the fumble, which I thought was a little weird because it wouldn't even have mattered whether Ashton Genty had fumbled or not there, as Daniel Carlson is looking for a deep field goal and he has it with a little extra space to go. Now there's two things I need to get to. Um, the Raiders got challenged that play for some reason. Obviously, the challenge was successful because it didn't really matter anyway. It was still going to be second and 10. But and now the second thing, if anybody didn't just realize, the Raiders guy actually is now down to two timeouts, and which I didn't show you, as Tony Pollard makes a man miss. Tony Pollard in the open field has one man to beat, but he cannot beat him. But if you realize the Raiders are now down to two timeouts, and that is because he actually tries to go for it on that 4th and 7 there. And if you guys do not remember the rules, because now, as he couldn't even do that. The rules are 4th and 2 past your own 35-yard line. You can go for it, and if it is fourth and goal from the 5-yard line and beyond, as Tony Pollard has some space right up the middle, tries to make a man miss again, but cannot get past. But the other rule is 4th and 5 from the opponent 10, you can go for it. And obviously, he was not in either of those situations as Cam Ward takes the high pass for Calvin Ridley, but just a little too high there at second and goal from the 5. Cam Ward looking to pass it down the 5 wide has, oh my goodness, nobody covered Chigazium Okonkwo as he is able to get an easy touchdown for the hitch route. And that is Chigazium's, I think I'm pronouncing that right, Chigazium Okonkwo's third touchdown in the last two games. As you remember, he had two last week, and now he has the one this week as Jack Beck is absolutely walloped on that kick return. As we are now under a minute in the first quarter, we have an 11-point lead here as Geno Smith looking for Jack Beck, Jack Besh. I actually think, let me see, Jack I actually no, it's Jack Besh. Sorry about that, guys. You guys know me and my pronunciations. I don't know what it is. I just always struggle. And surprisingly, with this one, it's more easy. I don't know how I'm really struggling with it as Geno Smith goes for Brock Bowers on the RPO there, and he gets the easy first down. I mean, there was no chance we were stopping that one as the Raiders in no huddle trying to get plays off before the first quarter is over. Geno Smith going deep has Jack Besh for an easy walk and touchdown. And that one there was totally my fault. If you guys remember that Armani Hooker death story, to get him up from star to superstar, we need either a combination of two pass deflections, sacks, forced fumbles, or tackle for losses. So it's honestly not a hard death story to get. You only need, like I said, it's a combination of those four things. So if I get like one pass deflection or and one tackle for loss, I easily get it. And right there, I saw that Brock Bowers in route, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna play this because I'm thinking most likely he's gonna take that one. That was like the easiest throw on that play, but forgetting that I am the deep zone there, I just totally forgot about that. As Cam Ward going deep for Okonkwo, but it is just too high. But man, oh man, if we had honestly that one right there probably would have been pick your poison because if we would have played it deep, then he probably would have gone for Brock Bowser as Calvin really has some space, breaks back inside, makes a couple people miss, but it's taken down shortly after now in field goal range. But like I was saying, that was most likely just a pick your poison play. But honestly, there as Tony Pollard right up the middle tries to juke left, just cannot break that tackle. But I feel like if we would have just played it deep regularly, then that Brock Bowers would have been a lot better than letting up the touchdown there as Cam Ward going for Kimere Dike, and Kimere Dike was left absolutely wide open, and that was totally user fault there. I don't know. You're playing cover two and you bring that deep safety all the way down. That is not going to work out for you. 10 times out of 10, that is not going to work out for you. And obviously, it didn't work out there as we get that easy touchdown to Kimere Dike. Maybe one of the easiest he's probably ever had there as Geno Smith tried to go for Ashton Genty on the Texas route. but he threw it right into his lineman there as Ashton Genty up the middle almost had himself a gap there, but luckily he was brought down by Darnell Baker as 3rd and 5 here. Geno Smith dropping back to pass, going deep. Oh my God, he just overthrew his man. He had an easy first down and more. That was Trey Tucker on the crossing route there. As the Raiders are now looking to punt it back to the man who just scored a touchdown. Kimere Dike tries to make a return, but is taken down not much farther from the actual return spot there as 1st and 10 in the single back, handing it off to Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard gets absolutely blown up by, once again, that is our Darius Washington as play clock winding down here. Cam Ward dropping back to pass it again. He's going deep for Kimere Dike. Kimere Dike has a step and he jumps up for the ball. Fortunately, he comes down with the catch, but I mean, that could have gone for a touchdown if he doesn't jump for it there as Cam Ward takes it on the read option. That was shoot, I just saw the name. That was Emmanuel Mosley, who Kimere Dike absolutely fried there. As on the RPO, we go to Kimere Dike again. Kimere Dike jukes inside, makes a man miss, but does not get much more. As 3rd and 1 from the 5-yard line, play clock winding down. You guys see the play. Tony Pollard takes it. Tony Pollard tries to go outside, forces his way back inside, does not get anything. And for everyone there, we just take our field goal. I mean, up to this point, we're up by 11. We don't want to force our luck here. We in this game, honestly, for me, once it gets to a certain point like this, I feel like I just want to take my cushion points, let the drive be over with, because I feel like it's better to be up by 14 than be up by 11. In this situation, as Geno Smith makes a dangerous throw, and that is Kevin Winston Jr., who almost had himself a pick there. At 2nd and 10, Geno Smith goes outside for a wide open Brock Bowers on the RPO, and he is tackled by Chiadobe Awuzie there, and in the no huddle or hurry up offense, I should say, Geno Smith saying in that same formation, going to the same play, Brock Bowers wide open again. Chiadobe Awuzie got to figure this one out, and the Raiders are in no huddle again, and I mean, third time's a charm, right? If they run the same play, Chiadobe Awuzie, he doesn't go that way this time, but like I said, third time's a charm. That is, I believe, who's that with the tackle there? Cedric Gray, as it's almost picked off by Darnell Baker there. But like I was saying earlier, third time's a charm for everything. As Geno Smith going for Brock Bowers, and it is forced out. 4th and 10 here. The Raiders obviously have to punt, and they're going for a fake punt actually. And oh my goodness, there was just no chance there. I mean, no chance. That was Alohi Gilman, who was the intended receiver. As on the counter play, we handed off to obviously Tony Pollard, but does not get a lot as we are now at the 2-minute warning after that gain of 2. Cam Ward dropping back to pass, looking for anybody going backwards in the pocket. He just throws it away. And once again, I'm sorry about the sniffling and the inconsistent talk. As you see here, we think the Raiders are dialing up a blitz, double blocking Max Crosby, and we have Calvin Ridley on the crossing route. Calvin Ridley jumps for the ball, and I mean, yes, it was a little bit behind, but you did not have to jump for it there. As oh my goodness, there is a flag on the play, but unfortunately for the Raiders, it was a legal block in the back, and also fortunate for the Raiders, that ball went out or went into the end zone, and it looked like it was going out at the 1-yard line. But I mean, it was still a good punt by Johnny Ecker, but he just could not get it there. As Geno Smith is sacked by I don't know about that one. So I'm so sorry. I do not know about that. I'm just going to call him Mr. O here. As 3rd and 19, the Titans dial up the blitz. Geno Smith gets it out just in time, but it is 4th and 1. He cannot go for this. Hopefully he doesn't, as the clock is under 30 seconds. He's going for it for Ashton Genty on the speed out, but Ashton Genty drops the ball, and that is exactly what happens when you break the rules. It does not work out for you. As now we are already in field goal range, going underneath for Kimere Dike. Jutes back inside. The Titans call their first timeout. Kimere Dike gets a gain of 6, 2nd and 4 here. 17 seconds left. Cam Ward dropping back to pass it again, and he is going for Kimura Dike again. And oh my goodness, do not put your hands in the cooking jar like that again. Cam Warden is almost picked off there as we just handed off to Tony Pollard on that side zone. Tony Pollard has some space and now down to the 2 yard line. First and goal. Titans calls their second timeout. Now in the 5 wide. That's Tony Pollard in motion. Cam Ward dropping back to pass again, rolling out of the pocket a little bit, goes across his body to Okonkwo. Well, that is his second touchdown of the game, and that is his fourth touchdown in the last 2 weeks. And that goes back to what I said earlier. You break the rules of the league, it does not go well for you. You are not allowed to go for it on 4th and 1. Like I said, it has to be 4th and 2 or less from your own 35-yard line. As now Geno Smith is just going for a deep ball to Brock Bowers. It makes it nowhere close. And the Raiders go back to their own locker room, down 31-10, their own stadium. Well, obviously, if they're going back to their own locker room, but as of right now, it does not look like the Raiders user will be getting his first dub. As I mean, if he just punted that ball, I mean, at least you might be at a 24-10 deficit going into halftime. Maybe at most 27-10 as Ashton Jetty has a hole. Ashton Jetty is running down the field. Darnell Baker and Chiadobe Awuzie in pursuit, but they will not get him. And Ashton Jetty caps off the first big run of the pay as AJ Cole is going for the 2-point conversion, and Cedric Gray just swats it out of there. And I mean, wow, back to back, just surprising plays. Ashton Genty with the mega run, and then the fake field goal for some reason. And once again, I don't mean to be a rule guy, but that is the second rule broken. You are only allowed to go for one fake punt a game, fake punt slash field goal a game, and that was his second there as Cam Ward going deep has a man wide open. That's Alec Onumar. Alec Onumar breaks a tackle but does not get away from the second man. Eric Stokes was the first guy who I assumed was supposed to be in coverage there as Cam Ward on the play action going back for Chiazium Okonkwo, but he has hit his through it and just was not able to get there. And one thing I might have taken advantage there, if you guys have not realized it, this Raiders guy is like changing his play calls constantly. He's putting his defensive guys in motion. And one thing I decided midway through this video is Cam Ward fools everybody on the read option. No one within a mile, and Cam Ward is in for the easy touchdown. But going back to what I said, this Raiders guy, I mean, now you might not have noticed it because the play, like in between plays, are cut to like when the ball is about to be hiked. But this Raiders guy is constantly moving his defensive alignment, moving guys around. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna take advantage of when you do that. Now, obviously, the plan wasn't to like wait for him to do it, then hike the ball. But just in that certain situation with the play clock winding down, I see him do that. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to change the play real quick. I'm just going to take that deep bomb and that one time it just worked out. Now, like I said, I wasn't obviously like taking advantage of that the whole game. It was just in that one certain situation there as Ashton Genty on the screen pass gets absolutely blown up by Kevin Winston Jr. on the hit there. It's now past midfield in the field goal range here. Geno Smith on the same play again goes for Ashton Genty, and Chiadobe Awuzie does not let lightning strike twice anymore as he just stops that screen pass before it even really got started here as Geno Smith rolling out of the pocket going deep for Jack Besh, and it is called surprisingly. That ball was majorly underthrown. Jack Besh is able to turn around for just in time to let the ball float right into his hands as in the hurry up offense again. The same formation not changing up the play here as Geno Smith has Brock Bowers wide open. And because that's a little bit of karma for us. We tried to change the play on defense, and obviously we were not ready for it. As on the 2-point conversion, Geno Smith has his man just wide open in the end zone. But like I was saying, we tried to change our defensive coverage there to a Tampa 2. We were not able to change it in time, and he has Brock Bowers wide open for that touchdown here as the Titans are capping off the second half in the I formation. Gets about a 3 yard gain before he's taken down. Well, I guess not capping off the second half. This is their Pollard now gets a 5 yard gain, 3rd and 2 here. Are the Titans going to run it again for a third time, possibly for the first down as we do? And Tony Pollard bumps into Peter Skoronsky, a lineman running his lineman running backwards for some reason. That's 4 for 1. We're going for it, and we have Calvin Ridley, and we just barely got that first down. His Raiders user, he almost had himself an easy pick as we handed off to Tony Pollard on the sweep. Tony Pollard is not going anywhere. And I know I said I was going to try and play a little bit more conservative, but in that situation, 4 for 1, when we have a chance to really put this game on a little bit of ice, we have to take that chance as we get it to Kimura DK up the seams here. As we are now with 2 minutes left in the third quarter, we hand it off to Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard does not get anywhere. That's our Darius Washington on the stop after the game of one play clock winding down here. Cam Ward dropping back with the screen pass, hands it off to Tony Pollard. Men are getting pancaked everywhere. Oh my goodness. I don't know who 79 was, but he pancaked like 3 people that play as we are now under a minute left in the third quarter. We handed off to Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard actually just put a guy in the ground there as Max Crosby is injured. I mean, he has not had the biggest impact on this game, but he is one of the Raiders' best players there. As Cam Ward going for Calvin Ridley on our signature play, and Calvin Ridley has the catch, and he is into the end zone there. And there's a flag on the play that is going to be roughing the kicker by, whoa, Caillou Blue Kelly. That is one of the weirdest names I've heard, and I'm assuming that it's probably his real name if his picture did show up by that, as Bachman breaks a tackle, and Bachman, for a second there, looked like he had a dislocated elbow. Max Crosby, oh my goodness. Boschman did not have a dislocated elbow. Max Crosby had the dislocated elbow. I'm sorry about that one, as Geno Smith going back for Ashton Jeanty is a little bit too far. And wow, that is a huge loss for the Raiders. Max Crosby is going to be out for a little bit as Geno Smith dropping back in the 5 wide, going for Jack Besh on the drag route. Jack Besh has some space, and Jack Besh is, oh my goodness, he is wild up there. And we are getting some big hits in this game, as that was Cedric Gray on the hit stick there as Geno Smith going for Ashton Jeanty is way too high once again. And Geno Smith this drive obviously does not like Ashton Jeanty is throwing like every pass high as on the play action here with the man in motion. Geno Smith gets it underneath to Brock Bowers for a 6 yard gain to end off the third quarter, where the Titans are having a dominant showing, especially on offense. Everything is just going their way. We have the 45-24 lead here as to start off the fourth quarter, third and fourth for these Raiders here. Geno Smith dropping back to pass. Geno Smith going deep, and it's picked off by Xavier Woods. I believe that is his second of the season, and he just goes down. And unfortunately, once again, I am sorry to cut the content a little short, but for the fourth week in a row, we have another quitter. It's unfortunate, but like I said, I cannot control when people decide to quit the game. And this time, this was not a consensual quit. Kind of just like last week, it was not a consensual quit. We did not. This guy actually didn't even ask me if he could quit. He straight up just quit the game. As you see, Cam Ward's stat line there. Look at that: 309 passing yards, 5 touchdowns on a 75% completion rate. They are a little stingy. The passer rating not giving us that 158.3, or what is it, 158? 158.3 or 158? I don't even remember. But they're a little stingy. But once again, another guy quits. This time we had that DB breakout with Amani Hooker, and I actually made it with the commissioners. I made a deal with them. We are going to get another week to do the Armani Hooker death story to possibly get him up to superstar. And he gave me 2 options. Either I get Armani Hooker had 1 pass deflection, so we only need one more of the stats, which is either a deflection, a sack, tackle for loss, or forced fumble. So he gave me either 2 options, either against the Patriots, who we're playing next week, who have the number one, they have the number one passing offense and the number 2 rushing offense. So this is going to be either an absolute blowout or an absolute shootout. But like I was saying, the commission gave me 2 options. Either I do 1 quarter for the Armani Hooker depth trait to either get one more of those stats, or I reset completely and just use the whole game to either get two of those stats. So I'm planning to play the Patriots game either tonight or tomorrow. I'm still thinking about it. I'm really leaning on just taking one quarter to get one of those stats, but I don't know, 36 minutes of game time to get just two of those stats. If we were playing a different team, I would totally take that option. But I just don't know. Maybe I should take the option because it's like the Patriots guy, he has the number one passing offense. So I feel like that's going to open up to passing more. So I feel like one quarter would be enough. I mean, he's passing the ball like crazy. I'm pretty sure Drake May has like the most passing yards, most passing attempts, something like that. So I'm thinking of really taking that first option, just taking one quarter to get the deflection. But you'll know in the next video. But other than that, that is going to be it for me in this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Drop a like, a comment, and a subscribe. And that is going to be it for me. And peace.